validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. We got us an interesting, what's today? Friday night. Losing track of the days. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. We got a special shout out to YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. We got you guys all live. I got everything set up where I can probably get everybody's comments up there in rotation, as long as those comments are appropriate. So as you guys come into tonight's show, make sure that, oh, wait, hold on. It's telling me that I can't post into all destinations. So some destinations won't get some. So I won't be able to respond to some destinations. That's okay. So Twitter is giving us some issues. So apparently when we try to post stuff, it won't let us post stuff, but that's okay though. So in the meantime, until they fix that situation, for the rest of you guys, we have it in the comment section where if you want to come live onto the show, you can click the link, approve the mic, approve the camera. It'll bring you on in real time. We'll be able to get your 2 cents in there. So for those of you on Twitch that are looking, it's that link there. I will have to throw it in there on the opposite side of things. So hold on a second, because you got to follow the show live and then throw it down in the comment section. Oh, bless it. This is going to be one of those difficult scenarios where we got to widescreen it. Oh, it's just letting us look at it. It's not gonna. Where's the comment section? They tripping. Ah, boy. So hold on and refresh the page and see if we can get the live broadcast in here. And it's there. There it is. There it is. All right. Now, I said I was gonna give it to y'all. Boom, there you go. Now, for anybody who sees it in the comment section, if you guys are viewing it, if you want to click that link, approve the mic, approve the camera, bring you on in real time, and then we'll be able to get things rolling for us. We are live 7 nights a week. I tell you that all on a regular basis. We are coming up on daylight savings time. I think we got tonight and tomorrow, the last 2 nights before daylight savings time, because that night on the 9th at 2 a.m., that is when daylight savings time moves forward. So tomorrow night will be the last night of non-daylight savings time, and then right after the show, everything's the time is going to shift forward an hour. So after that, we should be on the 9th moving forward, airing on about 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, which is about what are we looking at? 11 o'clock Florida time, which is 7:30 California time. And yeah, we're gonna try to stand on business with being on time with the show. So definitely give us a shout out for those of you that are here. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Uh, I see Danielle. Special shout out to Danielle. She's the first one to catch the show on the podcast. It's gonna get pretty thick. We are gonna have to juggle quite a few quite a few browsers here. So forgive me if we start dealing with some complications. Uh we're going to work through this because as long as I can make it make sense, that is exactly what I'm going to do. I am going to make it make sense. Now, today we're supposed to be talking about dating on a recession. We have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We talk about social improvement, personal improvement, self-improvement, stuff to that effect. And then we also talk about on Sunday, we do our members only shows where we typically work on questions and comments from the fans, where fans have things that they say in the comment section. And if those comments are worthy, we make a show about it. If those comments are intrinsic, then I'll give you guys insight and information on it. And then we move on. Now, Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, we talk about business, politics, financing, how the world works. Wednesday specifically, we do a different topic about a different show about a different country every week. So we talk about ways to invest, ways to make money for us, and then we do the cycle all over again. So since Twitter is pro Elon Musk, we are probably going to get a lot more people when we talk about things that are happening on Monday with Doge and things that Donald Trump is doing with the Trump administration and how things are impacting us. So you probably see a lot more comments from them going forward. And likewise, when we start talking about business and finance, how we're going to make money for us. This coming Tuesday, we're going to be talking about the advancements and enhancements of crypto. So that's going to be a very rocky road for us to work on. So I will be making sure that we piece that together as well. Beyond that, yeah, let's get this party started today. Feel free to put your comments in. Just make sure that your comments are reasonably appropriate, guys, because I know that even though we are primarily an adult channel, it is open to the public. So we do got some that are under the age of 18 that do come to the channel that are interested in getting some insight and some information. And those individuals, we kind of want to respect the dialogue a little bit. You do not have to agree with the things that I say on this channel, and I do not have to agree with you, because this is an open mic, open-minded, open forum conversation. So you have the ability to say whatever it is that you want to say, as long as you say it appropriate. We have had to take time to restrict access to some individuals yesterday, as a matter of fact, and day before yesterday for inappropriate behavior in the comments. I ask that you guys stay appropriate reasonably. You can voice your discontent. or your disagreements with whatever it is that I'm talking about, and I'm going to make it make sense. I'm not going to outright tell you that you're wrong, but if you're inaccurate, then I will be able to point out the lack of accuracy and clarify where your research and information came from. Now, if we have a debate about a topic that I have no knowledge on, which is very rare, but if it happens where you bring something up that I wasn't covering, that I don't have enough information on, I'll definitely be more than willing to do a show about it on another day. But any information that I know about, that I've done my due diligence and research on, and we're talking about it on a show, I will clearly take time out of my day to make it make sense for you. You don't have to agree with the position that I have, because my position is based off of facts. Your position might be based off of opinion, and your opinion does not have to be my opinion, but facts do not change. So whether I say it or somebody else says it, it is what it is, because facts don't change. Facts can be outdated. Facts can be updated with the change of relevant information. But as long as the information stays the same, the facts stay the same. So join me as I take the challenge on to find the best way for us to look for love on a budget in 2025. Can I make meaningful connections without breaking the bank? That's something that we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to make sure that I give you guys some tips and tricks on ways where we can find more affordable ways to get involved with those special somebodies without wasting time. And special shout out to Usman. Usman's in here. He says, question, Xander, how many suits do you own? Xander, answer, yes. Oh my God. I want to say 60, 70, something like that. It's a lot. So my attire typically covers 2 walk-in closets. So 2 full-size walk-in closets. So it's a lot of stuff. You've got blazers. It's 90% blazers, dress pants, and dress shirts, and the vest that accompany. So it's a lot. So it definitely it definitely is a lot. But appreciate the compliment. Now we're going to be talking about dating on a budget today. So I did not grab specific countries, because the thing about dating on a budget is that depending on what country you're in, depends on how you date and what you do. I did not pick specific cities and states, because depending on what city and state you are in, it depends on what's available and what you can do. But I can give you conceptually ideas that you can look into, where no matter what city, state, or country you're in, if that particular concept of a dating scheme is available, you could probably look into ways of making that one a little bit more successful for you. But just know, around the world, we have the same experience, that finding love in today's economy is tough, especially when feeling like everything is getting more expensive by the minute. And for those of us that are in the United States, we are about to really, really feel it, because with Mexico closing the border on the south and Canada closing the borders on the north, shutting down trades due to the tariffs, we're going to be talking about on Monday exactly how much that is going to cost us with inflation. But what if I told you that you don't have to break the bank to find meaningful connections in spite the shifts in economy? Dating can be a costly affair, with pricey dinners, expensive outings, and lavish gifts adding up quickly. Fellas, we've got to stop doing that, because 90% of the time it is us doing the lavish gifts. We remember back when we were kids, we were taught to get the girl roses. Roses are expensive. If we get her a flower, you want it to be pretty, but really weeds or lilies and daffodils and stuff. And you don't want to give her something that's just not that good. So you typically go and spend $12 a plant for roses. You try to get 10 or 12 of them, and now you're spending $140 for a bouquet of flowers so that you can make the girl feel special. You don't even know if you like her yet. The only thing you know is you want to sleep with her. You don't know much about her. You don't know if you're going to like her once you get to know her, but you do know you want to sleep with her. So $120 worth of roses. First date. We got to cut that nonsense out because it's a waste of money. Usman says there's a difference between showing a lady you care and spoiling her. I completely agree with that. And I'm more on in 2025 the mentality of showing a woman that you care, reminding her that she is important, but not wastefully spoiling her to a magnitude where there is an inflated self-perceived ego that will negatively impact the relationship. Because whatever you do at the beginning of a relationship, you need to magnify throughout the relationship in order, because it gets old. So if you're starting at the top, there is nothing left to do. It's downhill from here. If you're starting at the bottom, doing the least necessary and building it up as she show you her value, then the more you do, the more you're appreciated. But if you start doing top tier stuff from day one, I'm gonna be honest with you, bouquet of roses is probably somewhere along the lines of how you doing, Talina? Special shout out to Talina from Ukraine. Good morning, y'all. Special shout out to Ukraine. Uh, but yeah, I think $120 worth of roses is probably 12 days in, not 12 days, 12 months in. Because I don't believe that roses on the first date is appropriate for our modern day women. I believe that you give roses for appreciation for what she has already contributed to the relationship. That for first date and roses, no, not a thing. Her birthday, maybe. Mother's Day, if she's the mother of your children, a Valentine's Day on year 2, not on year 1. One flower, maybe, but I don't believe like $120 for a dozen roses. No. You do a dozen roses for the woman that tells you that she's pregnant for you and she's not going to abort it. That's what you do a dozen roses for. You don't do a dozen roses for the girl that you don't know her last name yet. You don't know her middle name. If you do know her last name, if you're on a first date where you guys connected from social media and you don't even have each other's real phone number, yeah, that's not where roses come from, bro. You guys got to know enough about each other where, like, if she's your organ donor, she deserves roses. You understand? Your emergency contact deserves roses, but just somebody that you're probably going to have a one night stand with and probably do away with, you're not gonna. That's not where roses come from. But Usman says, you're right. Starting at the top would eventually become the norm for her. But it's not just going to be the norm for her, Usman. It's going to be a challenge for you, because whatever the top is, you have to better yourself. If you don't, then she's going to feel unappreciated, and eventually that's going to be an issue. Talina says, money is a power and power is a money. So first you get the money, then you got the power. That is true. But until you get the money, you don't need the money to get a woman that values you for who you are. You actually could get a woman that values you for who you are, aid you in making a bunch of money, so that the majority of the money that you made with her will go to her, instead of her waiting for the finished product and sitting there with her hand out, just expecting to get from you without ever contributing into your success. That's the difference. So we're going to be talking about ways to do this in a more effective scenario. She says, stop that. Why? Either way, it's no wonder that so many people are hesitating to put themselves out there, fearing that the cost of dating will leave them with empty pockets and a broken heart. And more often than not, the person that has this feeling is men, because men are expected to compensate for the dates more often than not. Men are expected to approach more often than not. And because the person who asks, even in an egalitarian mentality, a person that asks is supposed to pay. The person that doesn't want to pay puts the burden of the question on the other person, which again still makes it mandatory that 75% or 85% of the time the man is paying for the first handful of dates. Nice looking dudes have more chance. Well, we talked about that yesterday on the show, that the women that are interested in physical attraction uh, are probably more often than not going to go for the more appealing guy, regardless of what his financial status is. Usually it comes from physical attraction first, social status next, and then financial status thereafter. Um, if you look physically attractive, they may give you the time of day. If you have a reasonable social status, then they may get a little bit further into what's going on with you, and then they may further follow up with if they're satisfied with your financial status. Now, before they actually dig into your financial status, if they have a preconceived expectation of your financial status, that's when you have those women where if you look rich, you can be poor, but if you look rich, she will date you because you're physically attractive, reasonably physically attractive, maybe a 5 or a 6 look wise, but it looks like you have status. It looks like you are somebody. And that comes from the age old saying of fake it till you make it. So if you look like you are somebody, then she might hook up with you or something to that effect. But once you guys start becoming more exclusive towards one another, she might end up finding out what your finances look like, and then when she sees that you don't have enough money to put up to keep up that facade, then she might move on. And that's where a lot more short-term relationships come from, because if she's looking for financial security, she's looking for the social status, she's looking for the attractive man, and you only have 2 out of 3 of those, you might not meet all of her expectations, which means that she might just push on 70 to 90% of the time. 70% of the time with uneducated women, 90% of the time with educated women, women are going to slide on the guy if what she was expecting to get out of the relationship she's not getting. The men 10 to 30% of the time are going to walk out of the situation specifically because they don't like the way they're being treated, or the female is not faithful, or both. Outside of that, the men will take a lot of abuse and still try to make the situation work. The effort to try to make the situation work isn't as much out of the woman's side when the breakup occurs, but the lifelong relationships, 40, 50, 70 years long, are from both the man and woman putting up ample effort to make the relationship work in spite differences, in spite complications, in spite infidelity. Usman says, as a Muslim, the concept of one night stands is wild to me. Said one night could ruin your entire life. Well, you are right about that. She says, first of all, looking good is already a sign of wealth. True. Actually, healthy individuals are more financially capable of looking and keeping themselves up than individuals that are not as financially successful. So that is true. But that, again, you're looking at what you're talking about is looking good, like dressing nice and other stuff, smelling good with the cologne or perfume or whatever that you're wearing. That part is in line with signs of, it's supposed to be in line with signs of wealth. But wealthy people wear cheap stuff. Wealthy people only spend money on what's reasonable, as opposed to doing the expensive name brand such and such, because it's not necessary. Um, if it's durable, they'll get it. If it lasts long, they might get it. But if they'll get something cheap that they need for today, as opposed to getting something expensive just to look good for today. A lot of times, broke-minded individuals will uh I got that question right there. A lot of times broke-minded individuals want to impress people from day one, so they'll spend their whole paycheck on an outfit they're only going to wear once, just to impress people for this one occasion, and then the rest of their lives they don't look like nothing. So that is a very big issue that we need to address as far as changing our concepts and our mindsets, because Usman is right. He's like, man, one night can ruin your life, and it really can. It can ruin your life. It could turn your life upside down. Anywhere between STDs, getting arrested for not knowing that she wasn't the age that she lied and said that she was, or situations where she ends up pregnant, and now you've got to deal with custody battles, child support, and all this other stuff. It could really ruin your life. You could come to find out that she's married to somebody you didn't know. But sometimes they take it out on the other person. They don't really approach their partner about it. So you put yourself in a huge disadvantage when you don't know what you're doing and you're dealing with one night stands and stuff. Now she says, Talina says, who wants a broken guy? Now that is a good question. The fact is that mentality should be what women are thinking about when they say that they want a man to accept them for who they are and she's broken. Who wants a broken man falls on the same lines of what man wants a broken woman. So the women that are dealing with all of the trauma in their lives from bad dates, dating the wild guy, dating the adventurous roller coaster scenario, they come out of those relationships psychologically and emotionally scarred. And as they come out of those relationships psychologically and emotionally scarred with 2, 3, 5 kids for 2, 3, 5 different baby daddies, they want to find a good man now in their late 30s, early 40s, and they want that man to accept them broken. Now, fair to say, why are men required to accept broken women if women are not willing to accept broken men? Make it make sense. Now, as a man, if you recognize that you are in some way, shape, or form compromised, you should withdraw from the dating scene and try to fix some of the issues that you have to the best of your ability before you lift your head and look around and see what options you've got. Ladies should probably not be in the dating field as often as they are, because they should be looking for more long-term companionships. But while they're out there playing the field, trying to get more bodies than the guys, trying to catch more Pokemon than the men, it is strange to say that, you know, a woman finds herself as valuable at 35 with a body count of 1,000 as a woman that is 20 or 22 that has like 1, 5, or 0. I think that is extremely unrealistic. It's the difference between a brand new car with no miles on it or a brand new car that's got like 3,000 miles on it, a certified pre-owned vehicle, versus a used car with 900,000 miles on it. It's not the same. The value drastically depreciates. You got to look at having kids like crashing your car. Each time you dent that sumbitch and report it to your insurance, the value of the car goes down. Every time you pop out a child, the value of the woman goes down. Women these days can only produce so many children. You're looking at from the legal age till menopause, you got about 20 years. Out of that 20 years, women aren't willing to have 20 kids. And most women on certain cultures, they have as many as they possibly can. But most of the time, women want to stop at 3 to 5 at the most. So if you've already got 2 or 3, you're limiting the next guy's ability to get 5 because you're only willing to have a total of 5 yourself. So if you've already got 2 or 3, you're not willing to give him more than 1 or 2. And if you've already met the max count that you're willing to have, you've got your 3 kids, you're settled. You're looking for a man that's not interested in having kids. So that changes your dynamics. She says Usman needs to use condoms. Usman needs to follow his religion and not do it until marriage, because that's the best way to go. Special shout out to Pat. Pat's back. Talina, what are you pronounce? What are your pronouns? Her pronouns are not that relevant, because Donald Trump has already passed an executive order that there's either male or a female. So according to the photo, that's a she. With the hair and the glasses and a lipstick. And I mean, if it's not, I'm not double checking gender. It looks like a she. I'm going to call her a she. That's how it works for me. Usman says, I'm a Muslim. Again, no funny business before marriage. And that is the safest way to go, because if you have no funny business, you don't have as much emotional damage. You have less trauma from the physical relationships that don't end well. It does not mean that your relationship is going to be 100% perfect once you get into that marriage, because you don't know what the sex life is going to be like until after you've married the person. And it's not like you're going to be able to divorce the person because they're not good in bed. However, if you have no track record and she has no track record upon marriage, you guys are going to be learning each other, which means that you're both going to be horrible in bed. So you're just going to kind of make it work, which is a little bit better of a dynamic than those individuals that are coming out of the woodwork with, 500. Take that 15-year-old that she's got like a body count of more than 25 right now because she smashed a bunch of football players or whatever in the bathroom of her high school after school. She's not even legally old enough to do that yet, and she's already got a body count bigger than most adults. So when she is an adult, her body count is going to be a smooth 50 at this, to say the least, if she's already active with 25 at 15. And by the time she's 25, her body count is going to be in the hundreds. Now, most men that don't know what the body count is, which is why women are insecure about talking about their body count, are not going to talk about it, because if a man finds out, he's going to be like, yeah, no, it is literally a turnoff for a woman to have a high body count. But the old saying is that whatever the man says times 3, and whatever the woman says divided by 3. No, it's reverse. Whatever the man says divided by 3. So if he says that he's had 300 girls, it's less than that. It's a third of that. And women downplay theirs. So what if she says that she only had 30, it's actually 90. So whatever she says times 3 is her real body count. And whatever he says divided by 3 is his real body count, because people lie. Talina says, I'm talking about normal people, not about some outsiders. Well, I'm talking about all people, because all people are normal. Nobody is an outsider. Outsiders would be individuals that are probably in prison. That's a different type of environment. So your girlfriend is probably going to be like your cellmate, which is not necessarily, or the warden, or maybe one of the guards. So that type of environment would be an abstract or an abnormality. But Usman's religious beliefs is the traditional norms from like 150 years ago, way back in the day, before everybody started being so liberal about their freedom to express themselves sexually, and just like throw it against the wall, twerking upside down, and end up with 5 kids before they get out of high school. So his mentality is not wrong. It is exactly where we came from. We've just strayed away from that particular type of mentality. A lot of the Eastern cultures are expecting sex after marriage, but the more modern generations are not adhering to those expectations. So there is going to be a difference, but you come to find out that you learn more by doing less. But it takes a lot more experience before you recognize that. So those of us that's been around the block quite a few times will tell the next generation to slow it down. And the next generation is like, what you mean? You didn't slow down. But look at what happened. The results of a fast-paced lifestyle led to catastrophic failure. And that's one of the reasons why we're advertising and asking and promoting for individuals to do a little bit less in the next generation. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. If you're watching us from Twitch, special shout out to Twitch. Hit the follow button. If you're watching us from Twitter, special shout out to Twitter. Hit that follow button. I see there's a few of y'all popping in from over there. Usman says there's wisdom in not being promiscuous. So he's co-signing on the same thing I'm saying. And be it for men and women, if she gets her body count to 9,001, can people say her power level is over 9,000? Actually, it is going to be the exact opposite, Usman. If her counter is 9,001, she has no value to most men. Most men don't like hearing hundreds. So when she starts having thousands, you like those adult freelance workers, you know, the ones that are doing the videos, the ones that are sleeping with people for money, the OnlyFans girls, like, they're not girlfriend and wife material. Now, will a man sleep with a woman with an extremely high body count? Of course. The more men she's willing to sleep with, the less effort the man has to put into sleeping with another female. But that does not change the fact that, will he turn that girl into his wife? Will he turn that girl into his lifelong partner? That's what we're referring to. And the answer to that question is no. No, it's not going down that way. Most men don't want that. Most men don't want to have children for the type of woman that's already been seen on video or photos or other such, where they've been in the adult industry and been acting strange for a piece of change for a decade or so, where their kids can be in elementary school getting suspended for fighting because one of the other kids in the school is using a cell phone, watching a video where his mom is on the video being turned inside out by the principal. That's not the kind of a family environment that you want to have for your kids. So as a result, when men being a pack mentality, we're thinking about the long haul. We're thinking about the expectations of the future, and we think about the impact of your reputation on our reputation, our social status. We think about our reputation and our social status impacting your reputation and your social status. We capitalize on the ability to come together and become a power couple, but we can't become a power couple if you're being irresponsible. So that's one of the reasons why men will frown upon something like that. Uh, she says they do. Oh, let me take that down. She says they're doing work before getting a woman till they are old. Oh, well, appropriately, the way she wrote that, I let it fly, but I got to remind you that we do got some of our followers that learn from this podcast that are under the age of 18. So I can't put that one particularly on the screen. That's fine, though. You do make a valid point that there is the edited version of what you said is that the men have self-gratification. No. You're fine. You're fine. It is a valid statement, and it's not an issue. I just am not going to put it up on the screen specifically because it is a little bit more to the left. Now, to summarize what she wrote was men do self gratification in their younger years until they find that right woman or until they're old. And she is right. Men do lean more on self gratification. A lot of them do. And he says, Usman says, I truly feel sorry for kids who are related to anyone who does adult content. The bullying is insane. The bullying is astronomical because not only do you have to listen to comments that are made when you pass by adults that are commenting about your parents and they don't know that that's your parent, or if they know that's your parent and you hear them at the PTA meetings and the parent teacher conference when they're making comments about the other parents. And then when the kids catch wind of this information, because one child could walk past the other parents and hear all that, then they'll come back and start bullying that kid and start making fun of that kid. Now, you think that the boys got it bad if their parent is in the adult industry and the other boys find out about it. Actually, that's not the case. Your girls have more problems if mom was in that industry because they're going to assume that the child performs like the mother, and they're going to disrespect, devalue, and degrade that child because the mom was in a video devaluing and degrading herself. And that is not fair to the children. But at the end of the day, we are not making conscious decisions as adults as to what might happen because we're in a world before 2009. You could do reckless stuff, and the only people that knew about it was the people in your neighborhood. If you moved to a new neighborhood, nobody would know. But now we're in a world where if you do it today, everybody in every country of the world would know about it. It will go viral, which means that you can move out of this city into another city. And if they haven't forgotten about it, they're still talking trash about you. You can't just change a child's school from one school to the next because you was on TV doing something you ain't had no business doing. They're talking about it in the new school. You can't get away from the bad decisions that you make now because it's on the internet. And not only is it on the internet, it's on the internet raw and uncut footage because everybody who's recording your behavior is not filtering it out. They're just streaming it live in the moment while it happens. Somebody sees it, they crop the video, and now they're going to edit the video, blur out some of the stuff and put it out there, but it's just up there now. And because so many people can take your content and repurpose it, that is where the old saying is that just because you take it down doesn't mean it's taken down. It just means that wherever it was, it's no longer there, but it still can be up there somewhere else in somebody else's possession, and it can still be put back up by somebody else after you've put forth the effort to take it down. So it's never really lost. It's just no longer accessible to you on your platform that you are using. So you got to be careful with the decisions that you're making. And well, it's okay. It's okay. And she says, Usman, what about the LGBT community? The LGBT community, people have choices and decisions, but the stuff that you do behind closed doors is none of anybody else's business. The stuff that you do in the street, though, probably you could refrain from doing that if you don't want to have a social scrutiny that negatively impacts your ability to be successful. You can have the same LGBT choice that you had back in the 40s, 50s, and 70s and not be dressing like a half naked flamingo with pink and yellow and green flower underwear with the gigantic flamingo on your head, walking through the streets like a toucan talking about some Pride Month. You could literally dress appropriately and have your own personal preference and not have to exploit your personal desires, because women are not out there doing that. Women that are interested in other women are not dressing up and looking like Paul Bunyan talking about some, oh yeah, I'm into girls. So you got to understand that there's an appropriate way to do things. There's an inappropriate way to do things. She says that people are born with values. That is true. Well, people are born, then they are taught value, and then they decide to throw those values out the window. So they are born, they end up being instilled with those values, hopefully between 3 and 8 years old. And then by the time they're 15, they start throwing those values out the window. And the ones that keep their values until they're an adult, those are the ones that are probably going to stand on more values, morals, and ethics. But those that have forgotten what value looks like, or those that grew up in an environment that did not have as many values, those are going to be the ones that are probably going to be a little bit more reckless, a little bit more outspoken, a little bit more to the left field. So yeah, that's going to be an issue. Usman says also the kids are helpless. That's true. He said they could be high academic achievers or a star athlete, but that won't matter. They could lose arguments to, yeah, well, at least my mom doesn't do what your mom does. And he is exactly right. Your whole character, this is what I tell people on the show on a regular basis. Back in the day and in the Eastern cultures, you represent the family name. You represent your family heritage. So what that means is that the decisions that you make negatively impacts the whole family, not just yourself. So you cannot be self-destructive without hurting your family. And like he said, in some countries, you can't get a job because you're related to somebody who has no value in his country or no value in his society. You can have a hard time at work because you're known as the relative of somebody who has lost respect from a society. You cannot be in politics if somebody in your, even in America, you cannot be in politics with somebody in your family doing something degrading or devaluing, because that will cause you to lose your political position. Your authority, your power that you gain from people respecting you, they don't respect you because you're related to somebody they don't respect. You are guilty by association, even if you did nothing wrong. So a politician or say like a judge, right, has a family member that breaks the law. That judge usually steps down. They retire after that. Because how can you make decisions on moral and ethical scenarios when your family members are breaking laws right and left and they live in your house? How are you allowing people in your house to break laws and then you're going to try to enforce laws at work? So your image, your reputation, your value as a person stems from what you do and what the people in your family does, what the people in your network does, so your friends and your homies, your work colleagues and stuff, and then the people that you're dating, your wife, your girlfriend, your mistress, all of these people build your image. So you got to be careful with what you're doing. She said, people are allowed to express themselves. Well, there's a right and wrong way to express yourself. There's an appropriate way and an inappropriate way. Now, you have in countries that have 50-50 right, or not 50-50. I'm looking at the next comment that you have. They have other countries that have the First Amendment right of freedom of speech. You have some countries that don't have as many rights for freedom of speech, but they do give you the right to express yourself. Now, you have in countries that give you the right to express yourself, but that does not mean that you should disrespect yourself because you have the right to express yourself. Take, for example, the Paris Olympics. France does not allow people to wear religious garbs in public. Certain people did not participate in the Olympics, not because the Olympics banned them, but because the country does not allow, as a law in that country, for you to wear religious clothing or memorabilia. So wearing a cross or the hijab or wearing the cloaks that are with religious patterns on them, you're not able to do that in France. So you can't go there representing a religious figure. You can't do it. Now, in America, you can wear whatever you want. You can buy religious clothes online, not even be a religious figure, and pretend like you're a religious figure if that's what you wanted to do. But you could also pretend like you're an OnlyFans girl. You could dress up like a call girl. You could dress up like an escort. But at the same time, you have to recognize that, the image that you set is how people will judge you. So while people have the freedom to expression, they also have the expectation to be judged off of that expression. Okay. Well, you were raised by people from both sides of the tracks, and I respect that. But that doesn't. I've had experiences on both sides of the tracks as well, but that doesn't change the fact that I chose to do better. Usman says everyone has free will, but what you choose to do could produce benefits or consequences. And I completely agree with that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm saying that while people have freedom of expression, they should not express themselves in a negative light. You can be proud of who you are and the choices that you make, but you don't have to be that proud that you will devalue yourself out of your pride. Because at the end of the day, your pride is supposed to maintain a certain level of value. So you are supposed to have value in yourself the same way you expect other people to value you. So just think about the decision that you're making. If people will look down on you if you do this, should you do it? Now, people are going to disagree with me because of the things that I say on this podcast, but more often than not, 80 to 90% of people that like and subscribe and follow this channel, hit that follow button on Twitch and hit that follow button on Twitter. At the end of the day, you're going to look at what I'm saying, make sense out of it, do your research, and come back and say, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. I am not ashamed of the things that I do. Some people might not be ashamed of the things that they do. But the difference between the decisions that I make and the decisions of the next person is that I can walk off of this podcast and be respected for the things that I say, get more financial opportunities, get more business opportunities, find more connections, and be recognized as an individual that thinks logically and rationally. Now, on the other hand, the other type of person that flaunts it because they've got it, they may lose opportunities because the company doesn't represent that. They can lose financial opportunities because it goes against the company's format, structure, beliefs, processes. You can lose funding because you are doing something that the person signing your paycheck is not okay with. That's the difference between the two. Usman says money via whatever means is slowly gaining traction. Doing whatever it takes to get a dollar, which is identified as hustling, has greatly gained traction, specifically because the people need money, and they're running out of ideas to make legal money without working by the hour for somebody else. And when you stop working by the hour for somebody else, you start putting more effort into making other money in other places. Now, a lot of people prefer to make money with less physical, strenuous work. Now, when you find a way to make big money legally that doesn't require a lot of physical effort, you typically gravitate towards fast money. So it's not just that money via whatever means, it is also the largest quantity of money with the shortest period of effort that results in not being arrested is what people are choosing to do more often than not. Now, there are some people that are taking risks and hoping that this big money scheme is going to pay off and nobody catch them. And those individuals, more often than not, end up getting caught when they do too much of a bad thing. Too often, somebody gets caught, somebody rats somebody out, and then the person that's the mastermind behind the thing ends up in a 19 or 20 man operation on Fox News, CNN, the 9 o'clock news, where this ring of counterfeiters or this ring of credit card scammers or frauders or something like that got caught recently. And that's usually where that comes from, because big money becomes big money. Big money draws greed. Your greed makes you do it more often. And eventually you start sparking heads. The local police starts talking to the CIA. CIA starts talking to the feds. And all of a sudden, now you're on the Interpol watch list. They catch you at a traffic stop. They catch you in the act. You go down like OJ, and then your life is over after that. She says, I was born intelligent and smart despite being as a child in a bad influence. That is true. A lot of us have nothing but bad influence around us, but you can get good information from bad influences because they can show you what not to do, because the decisions that they make lead to special shout out to Ruderus. He's back from all of his exams. He's been crushing it. I think you still got what, 2 months left, 3 months left before school is out. But yeah, bad decisions have bad consequences, and when bad decisions have bad consequences, we typically end up leaning on those learning curves, because it's like, well, I don't want that to happen to me, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to make those kinds of decisions. And that's where we end up improving ourselves, by learning from the mistakes of others and learning from our own mistakes. Talani says, sorry, English is not my language, but am trying to be understandable. No, you're doing a fantastic job. We understand you clearly. And you guys on Twitter, if you guys Twitter X, if you guys have a comment, you can definitely comment on the show. And as long as it is appropriate, it can be visible on the show. So don't think that you're going to watch and not say, because if you got something that you got to say, throw it into the comment section. If it's appropriate, it'll end up here as well. Moving on, the financial pressure can be overwhelming, making it seem like love is a luxury only the wealthy can afford. In many cases, people are forced to choose between swiping right and paying their rent on time. And that's one of the things that happens when you find a match on a dating platform and then that person just ghosts you out of nowhere. It's because he or she, both men and women do this, could go from being in a stable scenario to find a partner to ending up in a financial constraint that prevents them from being suitable for being a match. So you're thinking, what did you do to cause this person to walk away? Special shout out to Ruderus one more time, because he did his exam. I got to give him his props. But you're thinking, what did you do? Because you and this person was talking, everything was going good, and then they just ghosted you out of the blue. But you have to understand that, truth be told, that there are times where it is not you, it is them that is the problem with the fact that your connection did not work out. So you can't take being ghosted offensively. However, we all take being ghosted to heart. We start sparking up a good conversation for the first time in a long time. And then after a little bit of that conversation then dying out, we start feeling bad about the fact that we thought we had something and now we don't. It's like baiting the hook, throwing it out there to go fishing. We thought we was reeling something in, and when we pulled it out of the water, there was nothing on the hook, not even the bait. We feel bad about that, even though it's not necessarily our fault for the comp. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you could have said something that they don't like, but there are times where they just can't. They can't afford to distract themselves with the relationship, and that is when you end up missing out on a good thing. Usman says, in a bad economy, sometimes people would date just to ease financial burdens and make rent on time. Yes, sir. Those are called situationships, where individuals will partner together. You typically, you have a situation where a woman has financial problems. The man is willing to help financially. He starts helping her with her bills. They start sleeping together. That turns into a relationship. They move in together to save money, and that turns into a relationship. They're not necessarily compatible to one another, and that's why their relationships becomes toxic, because instead of them working on fixing the things that they don't like about each other's behavior and characteristics, instead they play tit for tat for one another, but they can't leave each other because they can't afford to live by themselves. Then when they start putting out kids in that toxic relationship, they're less able. They are still able, but they're less able to part ways financially, because they can't afford to take care of two households and a child. So now they have this toxic relationship where they stay together, building a toxic relationship for the child, where the child grows up compromised because they can't afford to live on their own. She says, I speak fluent German and Russian and Ukraine, and am studying a lot, am tolerating all cultures and stuff, and I believe in love. Well, a lot of cultures are different, and that's why I tell you, some cultures do not believe in sex before marriage. Some cultures have no problem with it. I don't care either way, but truth be told, if you take sex out of the equation the same way you take money out of the equation, you're not blinded by your desire to get sex or blinded by your desire to get money and miss out on the characteristics that you're looking for in the partner when sex and money is consistent. That's why if you take his income out of the equation and sex with her out of the equation, what do you guys do for each other that makes this relationship successful is one of the questions that we ask. The effort that a man puts into the woman's success is not necessarily requiring him to spend money, but she benefits from his efforts. The effort that the woman puts into the man's success, she's not sleeping with the guy, but the stuff that she's doing, he can benefit from. But whether or not she has 5 or 7 degrees, whether or not she has a PhD in civil engineering or not, doesn't change the fact that if he needs help getting something done and she's not willing to do it, she's not valuable to him, regardless of whether or not she sleeps with him, because sex is only going to last so long. And when you guys stop having sex, this stuff still needs to be accomplished. And if he's the only person that's getting it done, she's not as valuable as she thinks she is. The same way, if stuff needed to be paid for and they're in a relationship where the man is expected to pay for it, if stuff needs to be paid for and he doesn't have it to pay, or he's not willing to pay, then he's not as valuable to her as he thinks he is. It's based on the expectations of the other person. Your value in a relationship is based on how much you are valued by the other person. She says, just do what you don't like and do simple. No, that doesn't work. No. You do what the other person needs, and you do it to the best of your ability. You do not half step the situation. You do not shortcut the situation. You do not downplay your efforts in the situation because you don't feel like doing it. Because reciprocation is that when you want or need something done, your partner is supposed to put as much effort into you as you put into your partner. So if you're not willing to help when your partner needs help, then your partner should not be required to help when you need help, which then makes you guys every person for themselves. You're not working in a pack mentality, and your relationship will not last. The average relationship is 1 year, 5 months, and 6 days, because out of the first 90 days, you guys are just having good sex. After the good sex falls off, you guys have less than a year of trying to deal with unresolved lack of differences. And because you guys refuse to improve for the sake of the relationship falls apart. That's why we have so much failed relationships going on. Individuals, we have the women are selfish and the men are inconsiderate. The man didn't think he should have done that. The woman is just trying to get hers before she starts trying to do something for somebody else. And as a result, she feels unappreciated and abandoned because he did not prioritize her. He feels unappreciated and abandoned because she didn't prioritize him. They're both unsatisfied in a relationship. So while you think about it, 70 to 90% of the time, women leave because they're not satisfied. But 100% of the time, when the woman is leaving, the man is not satisfied either, because the man is miserable due to the common behavior that when a woman is unhappy, she makes sure that her boyfriend is unhappy so that he feels how she feels. Now, that misery is going to make him put extra effort into trying to fix the relationship, but she's not reciprocating in that. If he does not meet her expectations, he will be miserable throughout that relationship until she leaves him. Now, what will change in this situation is that some situations she might stay long enough for him to leave, where her making him miserable lasted long enough for him to say, I can't do this anymore and I'm out. But 100% of the time, if she's not happy, he's not happy. But if he's not happy, she could be happy, because happy wife, happy life means she's happy. And if she's happy, she's not putting effort into making him more miserable than what he already is. But just because she's happy doesn't mean that he's happy. It just means that she is taken care of. That's half of the group. The other half of the group is going undone. And the other half of the group still could be unhappy long enough to walk out of the relationship. Here we go. We've got, she said, I was dating a man from Nigeria. I tried to be supportive and more. Some men you just can't do it for. And it doesn't matter if they're Nigeria, America, China, Russia. Some men are you put all your effort into, and they don't value and appreciate you. But that does not mean that you should not put all your effort into the next man. But a lot of women have put their all into the first 4 or 5 men that they date. And usually they date their type of man. They put everything into it first handful of times. Those relationships don't work. The woman's motivation to put extra effort into the relationship continues to depreciate with each relationship. By the 6th, 7th, or 10th relationship that she's in, the 9th, 10th, 12th sexual partner that she's with, she is no longer interested in putting in effort for his satisfaction. She is only willing to make sure that she gets satisfaction out of the relationship. That is what turns the women selfish, which means that the more partners that she has, the less likely she is going to be willing to put it all on a line for the next man, which is another reason why the higher the body count, the less desirable she is, because the higher the body count, the less likely she's willing to change for the success of the relationship. Usman says, being practical, sex would be less than 1% of your week's time, around 100 minutes. And he is right. It's probably going to be less than that. You got those people that might be able to go 2, 3, 4 hours, especially if they take a couple pills to make it happen. But you also have to understand that people that's got a full week, they're working double overtime. You're probably not having sex more than a couple times a week, 2 to 3 times a week. So even if you did a 2-hour round 3 times a week, that's still 6 hours out of your week that's sex related. And the rest of the time, you guys are still existing with one another. So you got to understand that it's not about sex. And if she's not willing to bring in the extra bread, when you run out of money, you run out of money. Somebody's got to bring up the rear. So instead of being the leader of the pack, if you're leading from the rear, and you're the support group. When times start getting financially tough, you see where money starts running out. You start putting your money in places where money needs to be at to keep things afloat. But in those relationships where the man is paying for the majority of it, or in those relationships where a woman is paying for the majority of it, the partner that is not required to financially invest in the standard of living of the household should be taking the rest of their income and investing in stocks, bonds, real estate, Bitcoin, and everything else, so that your relationship can end up generating more revenue from the excess money not needed, to the magnitude where, regardless of who it is, he can retire his wife so that she doesn't have to work anymore. She can retire her husband so that he doesn't have to work anymore. And y'all can spend the second half of your relationship enjoying each other's time, since the first half of y'all relationship, y'all spent working 2 jobs trying to make ends meet. That is what makes sense. She said he was taking all from me and in a name of love. And she said, hell nah, I will stay single. That is the mentality that people have after that. After quite a few negative run-ins, they typically put themselves in a position when they say, hell nah, I'm not doing that. Special shout out to Red Void, Omni81, Liberty Twister, Mr. Pibbs from Twitch. I see you guys popping in. But yeah, that is what we're looking at. We're looking at it makes no sense that we have lost the desire to be a partner to the other person because we have been so traumatized and damaged by the last person or the last group of people that we no longer have the effort to try to make the next relationship work. And yet, hypocrisy, we're going to derive the mentality that it is the other person's responsibility to make the relationship successful. So we want a successful relationship, but we want the other person to put in more effort because we put in more effort in the past. That doesn't work. Your new relationship requires new effort. Your new relationship requires new strategy. It's a new person. They don't think like the last person. They don't function like the last person. But if you have a historical trend of finding ain't worth it people because that's your type, you will be in a toxic relationship because that is your type. If your type is toxicity, you will attract toxic people, you will date toxic people, and you will see trends of toxic relationships. But that doesn't mean that all women are toxic, and that doesn't mean that all men are toxic. What that means is that you have a toxic choice. So recognizing you have a toxic choice, that means that you need to choose somebody that is not your type because your type is toxic. So if you choose somebody that is not your type, then that person might be exactly what you need. She said, I do not believe in love anymore. Well, and you would be in your 30s. So that's exactly why we say that, we want to keep the people who have hope in the rotation. You have given up. The ones that are still between 18 and 28 still believe that there is a possibility that something can manifest in a positive situation. Usually the women in the middle ages, 30 to 35, sometimes they might straggle to 38 or 40, but usually between 28 and 35, those women are starting to say, screw it, I'm done with relationships. I'm gonna be an old cat lady. Or I'm just going to do hookups, friends with benefits kind of situation. She says, I'm 43. My point exactly. You don't look 43 though. I thought that you were like 29, 32, something like that. So you got like shaved 20 years off because your appearance is pretty awesome there. However, the fact is that you've given up on it. And that also means that the person that looks at you and says, I could see myself making something work with her, you're not interested in making it work. That is where you're starting a relationship with the preconceived notion that you are not interested in making it work. Therefore, the relationship will not work because you're going to have subconscious self-sabotaging behavior. You're going to say and do things that's going to piss off your partner. If your partner doesn't have enough emotional intelligence, your partner is going to bounce back and say and do something that is going to make you madder. And then you guys are going to play tit for tat for one another. You guys are going to break up. Then you're going to say, nope, I'm only going to sleep around with people whenever I get that itch. And I'm just going to stay single. Or self-gratification, and I'm just going to stay single. But you're not going to tell yourself, I'm going to make better decisions in the next relationship. I'm going to find out what my partner needs, and I'm going to try to do that so that my partner will be happy with me. And then if I find somebody that wants to be with me, that's going to put in the effort to make me happy, that makes it easier for me, because now all I have to do is focus on putting in effort to make them happy, because they're dedicating themselves to me. I can dedicate myself to them with less effort. Instead of forcing somebody that doesn't like you to like you, if you like the person that likes you, a Jamaican man once told me, love who loves you, brother, because it makes more sense. Because love is a one-way street. You can love somebody and they could not care less about it. But the person that loves you, that's equally a one-way street. Two one-way streets together turns into a romance. If you love them reasonably to the magnitude that they love you, you guys have something that you guys can work on. Now, Usman says, by the grace of God, I'm a Muslim. He says it again, guys. I'm a Muslim man who stays away from funny business. God willing, I will continue to do so. Usman, real talk, bro. As a man, we should have more self-control. You don't have to be Muslim to have self-control. And if we hold more self-control, it's just that in your Muslim practice, you are taught more about self-control and the importance of self-control. In other religions, they're not taught that level of self-control. They're just, encouraged by their peers to get as many of them as they can, like a Pokemon trainer. You're trying to catch them all. You're trying to smash all the girls in the room. You're trying to smash all the girls in the city. You're trying to smash all girls in the state. It's just, you got to catch them all. But the fact is that it's not beneficial to do that. But if we were to pay attention to more conservative behaviors, we would avoid a lot more complications, and we would avoid a lot more catastrophic relationships. So I hope that you maintain your ability to not succumb to the temptations of negativity, because it will lead to more out than it would if you maintain the steady path and then found the right one for you before you started indulging in that. Talina says, no, my situation is different. Am running out of attention. Well, put that back up there. Yeah, you would be running out of attention. The older that you get, the less men that are going to be interested in communicating with you, because men that are still looking for children are going to look at your age range and they're going to assume this. It doesn't have to be accurate, but they're going to assume that you've crossed over menopause. If you've crossed over menopause, you're not bearing children. Men that still want children are going to want a woman young enough to bear children. Even though some women have given children at 65 years old, complications with pregnancy happens more often the older that you get. So between a woman's lack of desire to have children at an older age versus a woman's lack of capabilities to have a child at an older age, because they're less fertile, is going to interfere with their ability to be successful with being mothers at late ages. Now, that's going to limit to the quantity of men that are going to be interested in dating you, because the men that are looking to be fathers are going to be looking for those women that are between 20 and 27. Those men that are looking for a partner that has no interest in being a father are going to be looking at women between 30 and 43, 44, 45. But if you're looking at a man that is looking for a woman that's going to put up with him, he's looking for a woman that's at 44 to 45, 47. But that man is going to be 66, 69, 71. You're not going to see a 45-year-old man looking at a 45-year-old woman like, oh, I can make this work. The 45-year-old man is usually looking at a 28-year-old woman. The mathematics behind that is half your age plus 7. So if he's almost 50, half of his age is 25 plus 7. What's that going to give you? 32. So, and you're saying that you're 43. So how old is he going to be? 70. Half of 70 is 35 plus 7 is 42. So he's going to be like 75, 78, and he's going to be talking to you. The dynamic is still the same. Usman says, you're right, Xander. Also, it's odd to me how in American culture, virgins don't exist, bro. Virgins are seen as losers. Virgins don't exist, bro. Yeah, they treat you in high school in teenage years that if you have not slept with somebody, then you are not cool, which also leads to that child that got ran through by 25 boys in her high school, because you're not cool if you're not sleeping around. So before you're an adult, you've had multiple sex partners. As an adult, you've had a plethora of sex partners. Nobody's even considering marriage anymore. And marriage is a financial construct now. It's not in the eyes of your religion. It is a financial arrangement between two businesses, as I've explained to you guys plenty of times before. Your financial status and her financial status comes together and gets tax deductions as a merger where you two are now both together. Careful now, Talina, because I've told you before that we're not doing any hate speech. So I'm gonna that's your warning there. Usman is not a loser. He is a wise man that knows a lot about what's going on, and definitely has had plenty of experience with what we've been talking about over the past month or two, with holding yourselves to a higher level of behavior. So just because we don't agree with each other's opinions does not mean that we should downplay anybody else's is that hate? Yes, ma'am. Calling him a loser is hate speech, because you have the ability to debunk his opinion or his information by providing counter information that derails his position. But saying that the deliverer of the message is a loser because of their personal beliefs, that is attacking the messenger, and that's not what we do here. If you disagree with his opinion, provide some facts that counters his position. If you don't agree with him, you can not agree with him, but you cannot devalue him specifically because you do not agree with him. No man is an incel just because they're saying that there's toxic women in the world. No man is a bad person because they don't have the same values as you. And no woman is a horrible woman just because she believes that she can get out there and throw it against the wall and let anybody have some whenever she wants to. The fact is that I'm okay. You've been good about it. I just want to let you know that constitutes the hate speech that I ask you guys not to do. Because even if a woman decided to be an OnlyFans girl, I'm not going to tell her that she's a horrible person because she's an OnlyFans girl. I am going to tell her that she would not be considered wife material for most men because of the career choice that she has. And if she's wondering why it's hard for her to find somebody, that would be the reason, her career choice, because you cannot let every man in the world sample what you've got and then watch that on video around the world and then say that you're going to be a relationship exclusive to the one man who didn't see the video yet. That's not okay, because everybody else is lusting off of the video that you performed in, and every other video that you've created where multiple men have sampled what you have to offer, your value depreciates. Now, I'm not going to say that these women are making that these women are in any way, shape, or form insignificant in life, but they're not going to find what they're looking for as easily because of the choices that they make. So when you were saying that a lot of men want to be with you and you're not interested, the fact is that you don't have to. That you're single because the person that you want doesn't want you, but the people that want you, you don't want. That's the reason why you're single. And that's the reason why a lot of women end up single at 40, at 35, at 38, at 29. They end up single because the man that wants you, you don't want them. And we've talked about that on the show plenty of times before, that a woman will be approached by 500 guys and she'll only say yes to one. A man will be rejected by 499 women before one woman says yes. But the fact is that if a man has less opportunities for success and a woman has more opportunities for success, the fact is that the requirements shift, because she has to be able to earn her spot. Now, Talina says, I'm a professional hairdresser and a makeup artist. That's fine, but your career choice doesn't make you valuable to a man. A man could care less what you do for a living, because a man will take you homeless off the side of the road. A man will take you out of the basement of your grandmama's house. A man will take you off of your best friend's couch and put you in his house and take care of you for the rest of your life. A man don't care what you do for a living. So that doesn't justify your value. It's what you're willing to do for him after he puts in that effort that makes you valuable. Usman says, getting trolled by a stranger on the internet means nothing to me. It's cool. You have your views on the subject, and so do I. It's all about respect, Usman. I try to keep it respectful on both sides of the fence. So I greatly appreciate the fact that you didn't take that to heart. Talina says, I know what I want. Yes, ma'am. Most women know what they want by the time they're 30, but they also know what they're not willing to do. And the decision is that they're usually not willing to be partners in their relationships. And that's why they have a hard time finding a relationship. While it's easy for them to find somebody to hook up with, it's hard for them to find somebody to commit to, because they're not willing to change for the other person. The other person, you know what you want, Talina, so you know what kind of man is allowed to stand in front of you. But to find the man that you want, you still have to qualify for that man. You have to know exactly what he wants, and then you have to be that. You have to be the woman that he wants once you find the man that you're looking for. And until you're willing to change to be the woman that the man wants, you will find men that you can hook up with, but you're not going to find men that will stay with you, because you're not willing to be the woman that he needs you to be, for him to be more successful, so that he can give you a better life than the life that you have, or so that he could give you the life that you wish that you had. Because men strive for success. He strives for success with his woman. He strives to share his success with his woman. So he needs his woman to help him be more successful, so that he has more success to share with her. So your benefit from being his partner is what he can do for you. The more you want from him, the more you do for him, because the more successful you make him, the more you get out of him. That's how that works. So you're not doing this for nothing. You're not doing this for free. What you want out of the deal comes on the back end. It's a back end deal. You put in the effort into your man first, and then you get the residuals on the back end. And you will continue to get those residuals on the back end. The passiveness of getting whatever it is that he's got to give to you comes from the effort of you putting so much into him in the beginning. That's what people forget. You are absolutely right, honey. Usman said, I'm a minority in England, and I've had much worse in person. Bro, the internet is not nice. The internet definitely has its way of having a lack of accountability. And the lack of accountability allows people to be extremely disrespectful to one another. And that makes things hard for people to have the courage to speak up and say what they want to say. But we've experienced this as men, that there are very few women that are willing to have a man speak and not be judged harshly because she disagrees with what he says. And that conflicts with her ability to have transparency from her man. He is not going to feel comfortable with telling you what he thinks and how he feels if he knows that you will belittle him, degrade him, devalue him, and judge him harshly because he does not agree with you. Now, the only reason why I say, I'm not saying that they're bad women. I'm just saying that's why your relationship is tough, because you're not communicating with him, and you're not setting the atmosphere for him to feel comfortable with communicating with you. And that is where the problems come from. So once you are able to set up an environment that makes it judgment free, where you're not going, like a confessional, you are not going to take what he tells you and restate it ever again in life, especially not in front of other people. And you will not behave differently from the information that you receive from him. That is where transparency will occur. Because if he can trust that he will tell you and you will help him get out of it, and you will not make him regret telling you, then he will tell you everything. And what you ladies will get from that is that a man that is allowed to tell you everything with no negative repercussions from telling you is not going to do things that he knows he won't be able to tell you because he knows what the consequences are of telling you. So you build a higher level of accountability by giving him a judgment-free zone to tell you everything under the sun. Because if he doesn't get used to keeping secrets from you, he does not have as much room to create infidelity. His infidelity can only occur or primarily occur in scenarios where he's already in the habit of keeping secrets from you. But if you give him a judgment-free zone, he's more likely to tell you everything under the sun, like I said, and then he's more likely to not do things that he's not comfortable with telling you. He's going to be less comfortable with doing things that you're not approving of. And that gets you more of your ability to be successful in your relationships. She says, all I want to say is that I'm absolutely unique person and beautiful. All women are unique and beautiful in their own individual ways. And while certain people's attraction might not be the attraction of others, the fact is that all women are attractive in their own right. But that does not change the fact that your attraction will only get the man there to sleep with you. Your behavior is going to get to man to stay. Your cooperation will get to man to stay. If all you are is attractive, you are missing 2/3 of this factor because you have to have a positive behavior for him to approve of, and you have to have a cooperation and partnership in addition to that in order for him to approve or stay in that situation. I am for real. I agree. Usman says, I see it as working both ways. That's true. I look at people being promiscuous as people playing with consequences. That's actually a good way to put it. You have individuals that test the waters. Well, what would you do if I do this? Or, oh, I dare you to do those consequences or take actions on those consequences because I've already performed the action. And that is still toxic relationships. But promiscuous relationships typically are going to start from not getting what you need in your relationship. That's where they're going to start. If you settle for less and you got the kind of girl that you didn't really want because there's some of the things that she has that you're looking for, you'll be looking for another woman at the same time. If you got the woman that you want and she switched out on you and she's no longer doing the things that you want her to do, you're going to end up looking for that outside of a relationship. Flip the script. You got the man that you want, or at least you thought you wanted. Then you come to find out he's not able to do some of the stuff that you wanted him to do. You might leave or get another dude that's able to do more stuff. You could be in a situation where you got the man that you wanted, that he was doing a certain stuff at a certain time, but at the same time, he stopped doing certain things. And now that you're not getting what you originally was getting in a relationship, now you're missing that, and you're going to start looking for that outside of the relationship. So promiscuous behavior will stem from the absence of fulfillment from your initial relationship, which men that have a heightened recognition of their capabilities to be unfaithful or promiscuous put more requirement on their partner being able to fulfill the primary urges of the man, because if I have less reasons to cheat on you, I'm less likely to do it. So if you meet all of my expectations, then there shouldn't be a reason for me to cheat on you. Now, if you stop doing the things that I expect you to do, then that's going to increase the desire for me to find that somewhere else. So if these are the things that I'm looking for example, if I'm a man that's looking for children, you're too old to have children. If we got into a relationship, we might have a fantastic relationship until babies start showing up because you're not having those babies. And that's going to be a problem, because if I still want those children and you're not able to provide them, you now have to be flexible to allow me to get the children from somewhere else because you can't provide the children. So that in and of itself leads to bad situations. There are women that get into a relationship with a man that says on a second or third date that he wants to either have more children or start having children. She's not interested in children, but he's a good guy. She'll date him. He'll treat her the way she wants to be treated. Down the relationship, a year, 2 years down the line, he's bringing it back up. I still want children. I still want children. And she treats it like it's out of the blue. He said it in the beginning of the relationship. You ignored him and you tried to talk him out of it because that's not what you wanted. But that is the decisions that are made by a selfish person where they have no interest in fulfilling the needs of the other person. If you have a partner that wants something that you're not willing to provide, it is your responsibility to say this relationship is not going to work for me because I'm not willing to do that. And that's how you're able to squash that situation. She says, I have a beautiful son, 15 years old. Right. And your beautiful son, 15 years old, is going to go through everything I've been talking about on the show. Because men got it tough. Women got it hard, but men have it tough. Usman says, also, toxic revenge is insanity. Bro, people live in toxic revenge. Usman continues to say, an angry lady could sleep with multiple men and find ways for letting her ex-partner know. Usman, an angry woman, could find a way to sleep with multiple men and then let her husband know. And not even go nowhere, and then expect him to take that. You got to understand. Men are just like, screw it, I'm out. Women, on the other hand, he got to suffer before I leave. And that's an issue. That's an issue. And he says, I'm not sure what the male equivalent would be. Well, the male equivalent would be not spending no money on her and watching her suffer. That would be the male equivalent. I ain't going to give you nothing. You done ran out of gas, figure out a way to get home. I ain't giving you nothing. He'll take her to the mall, let her grab a bunch of stuff. She gets to the register. The people tell her how much it is. He's waiting for her in the car. That would be the equivalent, because men are not gonna get revenge on this girl and go smash a bunch of women, because if a man is desiring to sleep with other women, he's gonna sleep with other women. The equivalent to a woman using sex to hurt a man is equivalent of a man using money to hurt a woman. Take her out to an expensive dinner, run up the bill, and then wait for her to pay for it. We ain't going nowhere till you cash the check, because I ain't paying for nothing. Or we're gonna split the check. I'm gonna pay for my half, and now you have to pay for your half because you can't leave until you pay for your half. And as long as he paid for his half, he ain't breaking the laws. But that would be the equivalent. Emotional abandonment would also be an equivalent, where I'm not going to do nice things for you no more. I'm not going to take you nice places no more. I'm not going to put extra effort into making your life easier anymore. That would be the man's equivalent. She asks how old I am. You and I are in the same age range. So, you and I are in the same age range. We're going to put it at that. She says, not funny. He's got his father. Just because he's got his father doesn't change nothing, because his father went through the school of hard knocks before his father got you. He's going to go through the same thing that his father went through. He's going to go through the same thing that me and Usman's going through, because this is how the world treats men. It's not you. It is society. Women do not value men that are not financially stable. And unless the boy's got a massive inheritance that he's going to get at 18 years of age, where the women are only going to date him for his money, the women are not going to want to be with that man until that man is financially stable. And if it takes him until he's 45 to be financially stable, he is going to be entertainment or a plaything until he is financially stable. So she'll hook up with him. She'll go out and have fun with him, but she will never commit to him until he's in his middle ages, because he's not going to be financially stable until he's in his middle ages. So your son at 15 has got about 30 more years of experiencing everything that I'm talking about. And then after that, he'll be financially successful, and some woman half his age plus 7 will become his wife. That's fact. She says, is it okay to split the bill? It's okay for the woman to pay the bill, because I'm going to be honest with you. The men do so much, and the men do so much on top of the fact that they're going to lay their life down for the woman to survive. So you got to understand, it is okay for the woman to pay the bill, because he picked the place. He drove you there. You're going to get whatever you want You should pay the bill every other time. You should pay the bill. You guys should go on 2 dates that cost money, 2 dates that are free. He pays for 1 date, you pay for the other date. You're only paying 1 out of 4 times that y'all go out. That makes more sense. Instead, what we have right now is that he pays for everything that costs money, and she might do a little something that might cost effort every now and again. A lot of the times, what the women will do is make the man a cool meal, or what they'll do is sleep with the guy to make up for all the money he spent. But what she's doing is that she's putting a price tag on her body, but she's not showing her value. So really and truly, you want to eat at a 5-star restaurant, all you eat is steak and lobster, you should take him to a 5-star restaurant and you pay for the steak and lobster. Then let him take you to a different 5-star restaurant and y'all can do sushi and egg rolls and stuff. And then y'all go to 2 places that don't cost no money. Usman says Xander has more suits than years he's been on this earth. And that is true. Continuing, it's a harsh reality, but one that many of us are facing. The thought of forking out hundreds of dollars for a single date can be daunting. And it's no wonder that so many people are putting love on the back burner. In today's economy, it's more important than ever to be mindful of our spending habits, and dating is no exception. But does that mean we have to sacrifice love and connection in the process? Absolutely not. With a little creativity and resourcefulness, it's totally possible to have a fulfilling dating life without breaking the bank. She asked me, do I have a wife? No, I do not have a wife. It would not be financially in my benefit at this moment to have a wife. I just finished telling you guys about all the different ways that we're investing in 2025 to make it to that millionaire status. When I start seeing dividend distributions of $5,000 to $10,000 a month in excess of the income that I'm making doing all the other work that I do with all the other businesses that I have, then I'll say to myself, since I do not like the way the behaviors are in the Western culture, then I'm going to go ahead and fly over to the Philippines and go and get a woman that will value me for who I am while I'm paying $500 a month for her existence, which is cheaper than $500 a date in America. So that is how that works. See, I learned from the mistakes of finding a woman when you're not where you want to be at in life, where that person may have plateaued, and I am 6, 7, 8 figures. I'm not trying to plateau where I am. I'm trying to reach new heights. I'm in international investments. I am in foreign national investments. I am trust. I am worldwide businesses. I am travel the world to make money in other countries. So I have to finish succeeding because, again, like we said before, women more often than not want the finished product. So there are very few women that will listen to this and say, oh shit, this man is trying to go all over the world and make money for them, build a legacy, and then have that legacy passed down to the next generation. Then you have some women that'll say, I'll jump on that bandwagon. What do you need me to do to get to that goal? But most women here in 2025 would first laugh at you because you're not successful, and then try to degrade and devalue you because you haven't reached the level of success that you're trying to get at. And then they will not give you the time of day until you reach that status. Then once you reach that status, they hope that you don't remember them. They'll circle back now that you're financially successful, and now they want a piece of the success. So no. Usman says, a guy I went to high school with went to a marriage meeting. The lady said she wants to go on holiday once a month. He got up and left there, and then I would have did the exact same thing. She's asking me, how old must she be? Well, you got to understand, she's got to be young enough to drop children. So So that means that there's going to be a limit to how old she can be, but how young can she be? She has to be over the legal age. I would prefer over the legal drinking age. So that should put her somewhere under the age of approximately 22. It would be the lowest that I would be looking at. And then as high as probably 30 or 35, depending on her attitude. But since you and I are in the same age range, half of my age plus 7 would put her somewhere between 25 and 29. Which means that if she's hitting menopause between 35 and 45, odds are she should give me 5 or 10 kids. And in America, the cost of children is $15,000 to $25,000 a kid. So if I'm trying to have, we just did those statistics a couple days ago, in order for me to have 2 kids in America, I would need to be making $230,000 a year in some areas in America. If I'm looking at having 4 or 5 kids, I'm looking at having to make $500,000 a year to have 4 or 5 kids and a wife, especially if I don't expect her to work. Doesn't mean she can't work. It just means that if I don't expect her to work, then I would personally have to bring in $500,000 a year. So currently I'm not bringing in $500,000 a year. I'm not satisfied with where I am. So instead of me wasting my time and effort on chasing females, I would feel more comfortable expanding on my wealth so that when I make myself that level of success, I can go and find that individual that will value me for who I am. And then I will take good care of her, upgrade her lifestyle, specifically because she is giving me what I am looking for in my relationship, which is what all men should be trying to do. Usman says, when you said drop kids, I stupidly thought to myself, how hard is it to drop kids off to school? And you know what, Usman, that's a good thought, because if I'm dropping kids and we dropping kids off to school, you got to, well, how many women are capable of having kids that they are actually going to have behave appropriately at school? Because you got some kids that are not fit for school. You got some kids that are only fit for juvenile hall because they were poorly taught growing up. So it is actually more difficult than you think to have kids dropped off at school. But if I got kids that's dropped off at school, and I already told you, I said, hey, invest in the schools that your kids is going to. I'm talking about having 3 to 5 kids. I'm talking about adding them to the public school roster. So that means I'm talking about dropping off maybe $5,000 or $10,000, $15,000 a kid per semester in the schools that they're going to. So that means that when those schools see my child's last name on the docket, they're going to say, oh, he's going to be student body president, because his dad paid for all the new buses. His dad paid for the basketball court in the back. His dad paid for his dad built the computer lab and filled it with all the computers in there and paid for the internet on a regular basis. His dad does X, Y, and Z. And because of that, my kids are going to be respected. My kids will then be able to know what it's like to be appreciated and valued. And my kids will be taught to be humble, because you have to understand that if you know what it's like to not be valuable, no matter how hard you try, you know how good it feels to be appreciated and respected. And that's one of the things that women forget on a regular basis. They forgot what it feels like to be ignored. Men don't know what it feels like to be valued. So when a woman finally values a man, that's when a man actually turns head over heels for that woman. But when a man stops valuing a woman has a nervous breakdown, because she doesn't know what it's like to not be valuable. So women have a midlife crisis at 30, 40, 50 years old, because they stop being valuable, which means they stop being praised. They stop being acknowledged. And when they start being ignored by society, they just really, really turn dark a lot of the times. The older men get, the more valuable men become, because the more the man increases in age and increases his wealth, the woman is really only staying with him a lot of the times to keep that money. Because when he dies, whatever he got goes to her. And if she ain't got to do nothing for it besides keep him happy until he passes, the older he is, the less years that she has to work on this job. So she ain't even got to love the man. If he's 78 years old, she just got to hang out with him for 10 years till he dies. She could be 20. By the time she's 30, she's a widow at 30, but she's a millionaire because she took good care of her man till he died. You tell me you give me 2 kids from good families, always good. 2 kids is what a lot of women say, 2 or 3. But that also sets a problem in the relationship, because if she's only willing to produce 2 and the man wants 5, then that means he's going to get 3 more from somebody else. So if you're only willing to do 2, after your second child, you're going to end up in a relationship where a third child comes out of wedlock because you're not willing to give him the 5 that he wants. If you're going to demand monogamy, you must meet the expectations of the man, because in order for you to keep him loyal to you, you have to satisfy him. If you're not satisfying him, then he's going to get from somewhere else which you're not giving him. So your demand for monogamy cannot be accompanied by your oppressive behavior, where you're going to deprive him of his needs and expect him to stay loyal to you. No king runs a country that way. That is where rebellions come from. And to be fair, an affair would be a rebellion, because you are depriving him of what he needs and demanding that he stays loyal to you. And out of a rebellious behavior, he will go off and get it from somewhere else, where you will not be satisfied with his decision to be satisfied outside of the relationship, because you are not satisfying him. That's usually how that goes. Usman says, if the 80s and 90s whopping make a comeback, kids today would be different. Bro, if they beat that behind on a regular basis, if they took turns, it took a village to raise a child back in the day. And what that means is that if you acted up in the streets, you got beat by the teacher, you got beat by the neighbor, then the neighbor told your parents, well, you got your whooping, then you got a whooping by mama, then you got a whooping by daddy. They will put you in a car, take you over to the family for the family reunion, tell the family members what you did over there. You catch a whooping over there. Your favorite auntie, your grandma, your favorite uncle, you get like 7, 8, 9 whoopings. You made one mistake in life, and then you end up in a position where you're getting punished for it 7, 8, 9 times. You're getting punished for the past in the future because you made a mistake in the past, and that leads you to start making conscious decisions, because you're not going to make a decision right now that will negatively impact your future, because you don't want to get the whooping from the neighbor. You don't want to get the whooping from both your parents. You don't want to get the whooping from your family members after they find out about it. And then you don't want to get picked on by the other kids because you got whoopings by everybody in the family when you came over. So you're not going to make those bad decisions because you don't want to receive the negative consequences, which is what I told you before. Accept the consequences of your actions before you perform the action. Talina says, you can talk. I appreciate for quality time with you. I already have one. Yeah, well, she says your expectations are high. Well, you tell me that my expectations are high, but women are looking for men that are making over 100,000 a year or more, and that is 23% of men, which makes that man a high valued man. High valued men have high expectations. So if you want a high valued man as a woman, you must have higher qualifications. You can't just be attractive. You can be attractive to a low value man. High value men have high expectations. So if you are going to compete with 100% of women for 23% of men, you must stand out in a crowd. And beyond sex, your work choice and your level of education, you have to bring something to the table that other women are not bringing to the table to make you more valuable to that higher value man. Because men spend 3/4 of their life striving to be that higher value man. So that 25% of his life can he benefit from his whole life struggle. Women benefit from the man's struggle throughout the struggle. Men benefit from the woman's ability to sleep with the man and provide time to the man while the man struggles. But the entertainment that women get from men does not cost women anything other than their time. The man's time is as equally valuable as the woman's time, but the man's money compensates the woman for her time. The woman compensates the man for his money with sex, but the woman does not bring any other valuable traits to those toxic relationships, and the men end up being dissatisfied, and that is why the men end up walking away from those women. Now, that's the third time you put the same comment up there. That is considered spamming. So I'm going to let you know that you can't do that. I see your comments. Just because I don't always put them on the screen doesn't mean that I don't see them. You don't have to hit repeat. The last time somebody did that, the fourth time it happened, they had to go sit in timeout for a little bit. Talina says, disgusting to punish kids. I know that a lot of women think that it's a horrible thing to do to punish kids. And that's the reason why in the Western culture, there are so many kids that are out of control because they do not have any discipline at home. They do not have any upbringing of self-respect and self-value. And they believe that it is their right to devalue and degrade themselves. And that's the reason why those individuals end up in a position where they're not able to be the president of the United States or be in a CIA or be in a political position, because the choices that you made growing up negatively impact your ability to be that Fortune 500 individual. Now you got to find you a good job over by Amazon somewhere, because that's the only place that's going to hire you, McDonald's, Waffle House, or something like that, because you've destroyed opportunities by making bad choices, because you can be that bad B or you can be that hood chick and do whatever it is that you do. But now you are no longer as valuable as you would have been had you not made those bad choices. So all I'm doing is telling you guys not to make the choices that will complicate or compromise your abilities to be successful. Usman says, come on down, folks. It's a whooping wholesale. 10 whoopings for the price of one mistake. You are darn skippy. And Talina says, personally, I have money. I'm going to be honest with you. Just because you have money doesn't mean that a man is going to want that money. You got some of the young boys, 18 to 25, that date older women because those boys have not learned responsibility. They're out there trying to sleep with as many people as possible. Their sex drive matches her sex drive. She'll sleep with a younger man. She could take care of that younger man because she's got money. But if she's looking for an older man, she has to be a partner. You can be an alpha to a man that doesn't have his stuff together, but you cannot be an alpha to a man that has built the empire that you're stepping into. You can be the alpha of a man that does not have anything, but you cannot be an alpha to a man that has everything you want, need, and desire. And that's what you have to think about. Pat says, Xander, you're one patient son of a gun. Yes, sir, I am. Yes, sir, I am. Ain't sleeping with kids. Hold on. Well, they're not kids after the age of 18. Just because they're older, you've got a son that's 15, so your son's stepdad could be 22. That's how they do it in the Western culture. You might not be down for that, but some people don't have a problem with it. You got some people who, the man that is 78 dating a girl that's 18, his daughter's 33. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's how the culture works. Once you're over the legal age, it's open season. At 18, you can choose somebody that's women that are 18 choose men 60 years older than them for the financial security. And the men choose younger women because those women are still willing to be partners and they're able to bear children. But the younger men date older women because the older women with the higher sex drive are looking for a man with the high sex drive, because men's sex drive depreciate from 30 to 60. So the men are in their prime from 21 to 30. So a woman 45 or 55 would find more sexual entertainment with a man that is between 20 and 30 than what she would with a man in her own age group. That's just statistics. It's good for you to, I see that you're telling me that you're goodbye. Well, you hang out with, whenever you make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow night because we got a lot more stuff coming in here. Usman says, if you don't punish kids accordingly, of course, because you got to give them the quantity of discipline based on the behavior that they've performed, then how will the kids know there are consequences for their actions? They'll only learn when it's too late. That's one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of corporal punishment, because if you give them whoopings at the house when they're kids and you teach them right from wrong, positive and negative actions that have positive and negative consequences, your intentions can lead you to catastrophic failure if you do not understand the full situation. The difference is that your children will know when it is inappropriate for them to act. It'll put them in a situation where, like, for example, if you're cursing out a police officer, that could get you killed. If you cursing your mom and dad at the house, that could equally get you beat down. So if you disrespecting the authority, that's where you learn that from. You don't talk back to your parents because your parents would knock you down. The parents would slap the taste out your mouth. So that's going to teach you at a young age, don't disrespect your authority. That will lead you as an adult to not talk back to your boss because that'll get you fired. Not talk back to your teacher because that'll get you expelled. Not talk back to the police officer because that'll get you killed. So not learning that at the house with corporal punishment will lead you to believe that you can say and do whatever you want to do without consequence. And then the consequences are George Floyd. Ain't no mercy as an adult. So the consequences from a whooping as a child in the young ages prevents you from having catastrophic failure as an adult. And if you take the time, like I do, to explain the consequences of your actions before you perform the action and the encouragement to do what you know is right, then you end up in a scenario where the children are thinking about what they're about to do before they do it. They rationalize what's the worst that could happen to me if I do this, and then decide, I don't want those consequences. Therefore, I will not perform this action. Now, on the other hand, you have some that'll say, well, I don't want to get caught for this, so I'm going to try to put extra effort into not getting caught for this. But the more often that your parents catch you doing stuff that you ain't got no business doing and apply that corporal punishment, the more often you're not going to try to not get caught. You're going to try to find ways to do what you want to do and not get in trouble for doing it, because even if they caught you, it is not considered wrong. That is when you have an upstanding citizen. She says, if you're so smart, why are you still single? Because smart men are single. Smart men do not put themselves at the mercy of another person where that person is going to run his empire and for the specific expectation that he submits to the other person for sex. That's why I'm still single. Because if I have not found the right partner, if I have not found the one that's willing to be cooperative to our success, then I would be more beneficial to stay single, because my value increases with age. My millions increases with age, but her value will be her value when I find her, and her value depreciates over time. So if I wait until I'm satisfied with the position I'm trying to be in and then go look, I'm in the top 23%. I'm in the top 10%, where 100% of women are looking for what I've got to offer. Only 23% of men have higher expectations that women are not willing to meet. So that means I will eliminate women that don't meet my standards. You think that 100% of the top 23% of men are taken? No. 50% of men are single, never married, no children, no alimony, no child support, because the women aren't worth it. Usman says he is remaining single until the dividends and financial goals are reached. He said this earlier. Do you notice something, Usman? Men listen. Women make assumptions. Men listen. So like I said before, when I said that what I'm expecting to have, I don't have that. I haven't reached my finish line. And since I haven't reached my finish line, instead of continuously, because you got to understand, Talina, a man has to start over every time he breaks up with a woman, or every time a woman breaks up with him. He invests 30% or 40% of his income into his relationship with her outside of the standard of living. That 30% of income he could have been investing and improving his standard of living. The entire time that he continues to invest in her, when she leaves, the standard of living that she's walking away from is the only thing that she's losing out of the deal. He's losing every dollar he put into her. And then he has to start over. Anything she takes with her is money that he spent that he has to do away with and replace. The older you get, the harder it is to start over. The older that you get, the harder it is for you to reach your financial goals, because you have more financial constraints and less physical capabilities to meet those financial constraints, which means that you have to find another way. And if you're finding a partner that is not going anywhere, like the ladies in the Philippines will stay with you for 15 to 20 years. If I find her at 60, she'll be there till I die, on principle alone, on merit. See what I'm saying? So if I spend 20 to 25 more years making myself successful, I can go to the Philippines and find somebody that'll stay with me till my last breath, because she ain't got to work no more. But if I was to say that I'm gonna start looking in 5 years, then I'm gonna meet my goal in 5 years, and then in 5 years I'm gonna find one that's 29. Right? The person that I find still has to meet my expectations. She said, like I said, your expectations are too high. Well, no, the value of women are too low when you believe that my expectations are too high. All I'm asking you to do is be a partner. All I'm asking you to do is cooperate with my ability to be financially successful and not waste all of my money. All I'm asking you to do is put effort into making sure that I can make us more money so that you have more money to spend. If you're telling me that those are too high expectations, then by all means, that mentality is the reason why it's hard for women in their 40s to find a man, because I'm not saying that you have to worship the ground that I walk on. I'm not saying that you have to bow to me. I'm not saying I have to hold on. She says, buy yourself a dog. I have 2 dogs, because dogs are loyal. Dogs put effort into their ability to make you successful in some way, shape, or form. They try to protect you. They put their lives on a line for you. They wait for you to come back. So at the end of the day, I can have a dog. I can have multiple dogs. I've actually had a woman ask me to choose between her and my dog. And you want to know what happened? I had one dog when she made me choose. And I chose to get a second dog. And she's not here because she was intimidated by the value of that dog, because that dog will do everything that I need that dog to do. But she would not do what I needed a girlfriend or wife to do. Therefore, she got replaced with a second dog. That is how valuable she was. She was replaced by a dog that was being brought to the pound. That is how valuable she was. Now, those dogs, both of them, will fly first class with me when I travel. That woman will walk now. That's how that works. She will find a man to pay for her standard of living, but until she does, she is going to struggle. Usman says, Xander, show her your distinguished dogs. All right, let's see where they at. You, come here. Come on. When I bring one, the other one comes. But notice, I only had to do that one time. You said, bring them. All right. There's Buttercup. There's Kane. Come on, get in there. See that? See that? I said show up one time. They both came. Seconds later. Now tell a woman, come on, let's go, and see how quickly she argue with you. Why do I have to go? Why do I have to do this? Why do I don't tell me what to do? You not my daddy. Blase squaze. Why are we having to go through so much with the females when all I got to do is tell a dog to show up all day long? Pat says, do you know why hurricanes are named after women? Because when it's over, they take your dog, house, and car. And it destroys your life every single time. Usman says no attitude, and that's exactly true. We want no attitudes. And that's what we're aiming for. So one of the reasons why, as a higher value man, I am going to go to other countries in the eastern side of the world, and I'm going to find women that have not been corrupted by the Western culture, and I'm going to find women that are valuing with their traditional values, the same values that Usman has, that is going to be the type of partner that I'm looking for. They exist. I just got to go to where they are. Y'all here are weird. Well, I'll take that because yes, you don't understand what a valuable man looks like because you probably never seen one. But men of value have standards, and those standards need to be met by a woman of value. A woman of value, a woman that does not have the value that that man needs will not respect that man's expectations. Now, that's not saying that you're not valuable. I'm just saying that a woman that does not value the expectations of a valuable man is not valuable to that man, which means that she is not going to respect his expectations. And some are toxic enough to try to corrupt the man's expectations and make the man flex on his expectations, because at the end of the day, if she can get out of meeting those expectations, she will. She will talk him out of every situation that he would prefer. And that's why I tell men on a regular basis that you stand on your non-negotiable expectations for behavior. We're not setting boundaries. You have a non-negotiable expectation for behavior. The way I expect you to behave, that is what you're going to do if you're going to receive from me. If you're not going to behave that way, then you're not going to be here, because I'm not paying for disrespectful behavior. Usman said, you're not my daddy, lady. The last time you listened to your father was 2004. You got some females that don't listen to their daddy. So how are they going to say you're not my daddy when a man tells them? But hold on, though, Usman. Here's a funny part. They got women that say that, oh, you can't tell me what to do. You're not my daddy, this, that, and the third. But they'll do what their boss tells them to do, and their boss is paying a minimum wage to do it. Now, you got a man that spent 3/4 of his life building an empire so that she doesn't have to struggle. She doesn't have to have stress. She doesn't have to pay for anything. But at the same time, she is not going to follow his instructions. You have to understand that when you are being taken care of by the man you chose, you become his dependent. And like children, you follow the instructions of the authority that provides for you. The old saying, don't bite the hand that feeds you. That's why women want to do 50-50. Women want to do 50-50 so that they have more right to more control. But you want to be taken care of. And in order for you to be taken care of, the you're not my daddy is a defense mechanism. But a lot of the things that women do are defense mechanisms. And the thing is that the true value is that while you are a dependent, he is the authority. Women want a man to take them shopping, and that's fine. A man can take her shopping. A man can buy everything that she touches. But that man that buys her clothes should be able to tell her what she should and should not wear. Because just like when mom goes to the store and buy the kids for the clothes, mom tells the kids what the kids cannot wear to school. Mom tell the kids what the kids cannot wear out into the street. Mom tell the kids the difference between wearing a new clothes versus wearing the play clothes versus wearing the church clothes. Why? Because mom paid for the clothes. Now, if daddy's paying for the clothes, daddy tells you what to wear. If your husband's paying for your clothes, your husband tells you what to wear. You don't want your man to tell you what to wear? Don't have him pay for your shopping. That's how that works. But women are not going to agree to that because they want a man to buy her stuff that she doesn't have to work for and she doesn't have to reciprocate for. Because a woman that claims that she has class and value can withhold sex, and her ability to withhold sex is supposed to bring her value, but she's using a man's resources and withholding sex at the same time. When that same type of woman trades sex for monetary favors, it doesn't work. And the only thing she's bringing to the table, that particular type of woman, is sex. She ain't doing nothing else. Her hair did, nails did, everything did, but she's not doing nothing to deserve all that. Now, when a man says, well, hold up, if I take my money off the table, you're going to flip out. You don't want me to flip out if you take sex off the table. So let's take sex off the table. What are you doing to deserve my money? Oh, no, it's not a patriarchy. It's a matriarchy, the way the women behave. But it is supposed to be, by design, by the female design, it is supposed to be a patriarchy because women go through the hypergamy theory. Women want to date a man that is better than her. He's got to be taller than her, stronger than her, more attractive than her, more financially successful than her, smarter than her. Everything that she looks for in a man, the feminist woman becomes that, and then identifies that as why they're perfect. You are perfect for another woman because you're smarter, you're more financially successful, you're attractive. That's what women are looking for in a man. But what a man is looking for in a woman is that you're helpful, you're cooperative, you're non-combative, you're modest. Most women don't have those characteristics. Women find cooking and cleaning at the house oppressive. But in the 70s, men used to bring their whole paycheck home and give it to their wife, go to sleep, wake up in the morning, go to work. She took care of all the bills. She bought the food. She cooked. She bought his clothes, sold his clothes. She kept the man looking nice. Man wouldn't know what kind of clothes he was supposed to be putting on because his woman dressed him, because he gave her all the money. Women don't want that responsibility. The man got to make sure that the money is running on its own. The man's got to make sure that the operation of the house is running on its own. The man's got to hire a housekeeper. The man's got to buy a Rhombus shark. A man's got to buy a dishwasher. A man's got to buy a garbage disposal. A man's got to buy a washer and dryer. Then the man's got to pay the housekeeper to use the washing machine, the washer and dryer, the Keurig. We've got TV dinners because women don't want to cook anymore. So the man's gotta buy a TV prepared food so that it can be put into the microwave, and he's got to pay the housekeeper to cook that too. Now, what is the wife doing? You got a nanny watching the kids. You got a dog walker walking the dogs. You got a landscaper cleaning the yard. You got a roofer taking care of the house. What is the wife doing at the house? What is she doing? He's got to take the car to the mechanic shop. He's got to switch out cars, give you the better car, and then he's got to take the broke car to the mechanic shop and then catch a ride to the work. Now, out of all of the stuff that the man needs help with, what is the woman doing in that relationship? In that particular relationship, a lot of women don't do nothing. You say you cook. That is widely appreciated. Men need that. But a lot of women find it oppressive to be in the kitchen. And that's why men made most inventions to replace what women aren't willing to do. We have autopilot in cars because women don't want to drive, and sometimes men don't feel like it. I'm going to tell you right now, like, society changes based off of the need that is not met with the demand. The reason why we have adult freelance workers, the reason why we have adult workers is because the emotional intimacy and relationships are not being provided by the girlfriends. Women could not sell their body as a career if the girlfriends and the wives were satisfying their men at home. Usman said, I noticed that too. In my family, every lady is married to a man who is financially or physically superior. It's the hypergamy theory. A woman believes that she is in a good relationship if she levels up. A woman believes that a man is not valuable if she does not level up. But what women don't understand, and I've said this on the show plenty of times, that a man that is on your level is a man that can do for you what you can do for yourself. Now, him being able to take your responsibilities off of your plate, now you have no responsibilities, you leveled up. But because your standard of living didn't level up, you don't feel like he's valuable. Because your financial spending limits didn't level up, you don't feel like he's valuable. But you make a paycheck, he makes a paycheck, he pays all the bills, you can keep the money in your pocket, you leveled up. Women don't believe that. That's why they want a man that makes twice as much money as them, so that he can work, pay all the bills, and pay for her entertainment too, and she keeps her money in her pocket too. And that's one of the reasons why the relationships aren't successful. Because if she was a partner to him, two people with $50,000 got $100,000 a year income. If those two people are living a $60,000 lifestyle, they got $40,000 extra dollars to invest in. If you're investing $40,000 a year, you could be a millionaire in a couple years. And if you're a millionaire in a couple years with 15% interest, you're looking at getting $120,000, $150,000 a year worth of income from your investments. And if you're living off that $60,000 a year lifestyle at that time, you can both quit your jobs, live that $60,000 a year lifestyle, travel off of $40,000 a year, and take the other $25,000 a year and invest it to increase the millions and spend the rest of your futures enjoying each other's company. But women don't think like that. Women want the finished product. I want a man that's already financially successful, already financially stable, already at the end result. Instead of, he's got potential, he's got ambitions, he has drive, he's aiming for that. I'm going to help him get there. Some women say, oh, yeah, I tried that with the man back in the day and he left me for a different woman. Yeah, there are men out there that'll do that. But because that has happened to you 3 or 4 times in your life, 5 or 6 times in your life, you're not willing to put any effort into a man. As a result, the man that you find now must worship the ground that you walk on, give you all of his resources, and you do nothing to deserve it. And that a woman will call a good relationship. And that's not okay. That is the difference between the woman that has yet to have that catastrophic experience versus the woman that has. And that's one of the reasons why I said, well, if you want to compete with the younger women, you will then start doing what the younger women are still doing, which is change and try to be a partner for the man that you're looking for. Meet those higher expectations and show that you are a higher valued woman for that higher valued man. She said, I'm Slavic. That's fantastic. Slavic women are amazing. Today in 8th of March. That's right. Today is the 8th of March. Tomorrow is daylight savings time. So after tomorrow's show, time's going to go forward an hour. And after that, we should be showing up on time at 10 o'clock on the dot, Central Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock California time, which should be around about 4 o'clock in the morning, Universal Standard Time, 4 o'clock in the morning. I do believe that'll be Green Minute time. Now, one of my favorite budget-friendly date ideas is a picnic in the park. Not only is it free, but it's also a great way to enjoy outdoors and get to know each other in a relaxed setting. Look at that. Hold on now. She said the 8th of March is Women's Day. Now, for Women's Day, I believe that all women should put in effort to do something for a man that they don't know. If they don't have a man that they do know that they need to do something for. Show you on for March 8th, 2025, Women's Day. Show your value as a woman to men by appreciating the men. That's my challenge to y'all. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's my challenge to y'all. Now, one of the reasons why I like picnics is because she says, I'm not normal. You're right. I'm not normal, because normally a man would waste money on trying to impress the woman. Oh, it's Women's Day. Then down the line, we've got Mother's Day. We just had Valentine's Day, where all of these days are just waste money on a woman. Then you got her birthday. Then you're going to have waste more money on her for Christmas. But there's only 2 days out of the year that are dedicated to men. Father's Day, where the man cooks for everybody, and then the man's birthday, where he gets a fucking tie. So, again, we're in a situation where it's not uniform. The women want to be spoiled, but they're not willing to spoil their men. So, on Women's Day, show your value as women, and then you'll see how much that gets you. Usman said, I'm England, and daylight savings time starts the last Sunday of March. Oh, so you're going to experience 2 time changes, because we're experiencing time change tomorrow. She says, we are the reason you wait to get home and then in bed. You are exactly right. Those are the women that men take a long time to get home from work. They sit in the car for 20 or 30 extra minutes in the car trying to decant before they walk into the house. Some of them go straight into their man cave and decant a little bit more. And then they come into the bedroom, hope she sleep, go to bed, wake up in the morning, leave, and go to work again and do the situation all over again. But it shouldn't be that way. A man should be looking forward to going home to his wife, because his wife is going to value, appreciate him, and put that man on a pedestal on a regular basis. But that's not what happens. And because of that, the man's entire house that's supposed to be a sanctuary actually becomes a battlefield. And as a result, the only neutral territory is the man cave. So now the man has to hide from his wife in his house until he goes back to work. I don't agree with that, but that's the way things are. Another one of the reasons, like I was saying, that I like about picnics is because while it can be free, you can spend a little bit of money to be creative, make your little finger sandwiches, stuff to that effect, chips, things to that effect, and y'all can hang out, y'all can eat, drink y'all a little something to drink, either some sodas. You can get you some sparkling wine, which is alcohol-free wine, or you can spend money on actual alcohol, but the sparkling wine is like $3 a bottle, $4 a bottle, where wine could be like $20 to $50 a bottle. You can save you some money, enjoy yourselves, get to know each other, enjoy the environment, and be able to get out of the house and get you guys some sun. Usman says, I've got to get some sleep. Interesting talk, Xander. Until next time. Yes, sir. I'm going to see you tomorrow night. We got a little bit more to go. I actually don't have another engagement for another 2.5 hours, and I've got 15 pages left. So I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm going to make it do what it do. But I'll definitely see you tomorrow, Usman, because we got a lot of things that we're going to be talking about for the rest of the week. So for those of you that are coming through, make sure that y'all like and subscribe, and make sure that y'all hit that membership button. You can always throw contributions to the channel on all platforms from what I see, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. So make sure that you guys do what you got to do to show your love to the channel. In the meantime, another idea is to take advantage of free events in your area, such as amusement nights or outdoor concerts. And if you're feeling adventurous, why not try a virtual date? You can get like VR glasses, and then you guys can both wear dual VR glasses and wander around the house wearing your VR glasses, or you guys can have other, utilizing the technology that we have now, have like the type of dates where you literally can go anywhere in the world or potentially in the universe in one of those virtual dates. It's a great way to connect with someone without having to worry about the cost of transportation or fancy dinners. One of the things that you have to remember is that relationships are based off of you guys getting to know each other. So spending less time focusing on the entertainment factor of the date and spending more time on focusing on the bonding side of the date, that will build your relationship stronger. Getting to know the strengths of your partner and the weaknesses, the likes as well as the dislikes. And you want to replace their weaknesses with your strengths, and you want to avoid their dislikes and promote their likes. Likewise, they're supposed to do the same for you. The key is to think outside the box and get creative, because if you do that, that'll maintain spontaneity. And since women like a roller coaster relationship that has a lot of unknown in it, it will benefit the relationship if you spend more time being spontaneous without breaking the bank. Instead of going out for an expensive dinner, why not try cooking a meal together at home? You can cook something you guys have never cooked before. You can cook your partner's favorite dish. He can cook for her this time around. She can cook for him next time around. And you guys can save money eating at home. Not only will you save that money, but you'll also get to see each other's culinary skills and actions. You guys can also have a third day where y'all cook together. That way, the cooking is not just a responsibility for him. The cooking is not just a responsibility for her. You guys turn cooking from being a chore to being a memorable, loving, compassionate experience. And who knows, you might just discover new talents. The point is that there are plenty of ways to have fun and connect with someone without breaking the bank. Dating during a recession requires creativity and financial prudence. So here are some strategies for managing finances while seeking romance in challenging economic times. So with your budgeting friendly date ideas, you want to take a look at attending festivals, library talks. In addition to outdoor concerts, you want to join local groups on meetups.com and attend free events organized by the meetup community. Browse free events in your area on Eventbrite, including community activities and cultural events, where the most you're spending is the cost to commute to the event and potentially the cost of parking. Or if the event is close, you guys can walk or ride a bike there, and that will save you money on transportation. You can also have low cost activities like going hiking, and playing bar games like pool or darts. You have at home dates where you can try paint and sip nights, game nights. You can also do karaoke nights. You can do karaoke nights in public, or you can get you a karaoke machine and do karaoke nights at the house. You can do game nights with your partner, or you can do game nights with other couples, where you can expand your social group to other couples, and you can do different locations where if it's like you and two other couples and y'all have date night at your house one time, then y'all have date night at their house at another time, and then you have date night at somebody else's house at another time. That's how you're able to like kind of do it in different environments. Special shout out to what is that, Dirty Mark and the boys, Dirty Marco and the boys. Special shout out to him from Twitch. He says my wife had twins with my granddad. Hold on now. What kind of family tree do you have? Your stepkids are also your uncles? That is some serious stuff. Well, I'm going to assume that your wife is now your ex-wife if she had twins with your granddad. That is wild. I have no advice for that. If you want to work out that family tree, by all means, stick it out. But I can't see myself communicating with my father or grandfather after he impregnates my wife. And I definitely cannot see any loyalty in my wife if she is willing to sleep with my family members. So that would cause me to leave her. So, but I don't know what you're going to do about that. Cultural experiences, this happens in different places in different ways, so you guys are going to find different ways to utilize this category. But outside of museums, you have art galleries, and many of which offer free admission or student discounts. You have different kinds of art galleries because they have the erotica museums in a lot of places where you guys can look at adult art. You can go to historical monuments and historical landmarks. In Asia, there's a lot of temples and synagogues and stuff to that effect that you can go to. You have in every country around the world, there is a historical community where you can look at all of the ancient architect that still exists and is still being maintained. Other adventures that you can do outdoors outside of camping is taking scenic drives, meaning taking the long route. Instead of jumping on the interstate and speeding to your location, you guys can take the long way around and literally stop and smell the roses. You guys can pull over and take a look at some of the plantations in the South. You guys can go down mountain trails and look at new scenery. Take your time getting to where you're trying to go. Leave early so that you have more time to get there, and take your time trying to get there. That way you can spend more time enjoying each other's company. Road games in the car. You guys can take turns utilizing the map, take turns driving, and explore local parks. Outside of playing pool and darts and trivia night, you also have local activities at certain pubs. You can attend comedy clubs or open mic nights, and you can also participate in other forms of affordable entertainment. You want to make sure that you guys maintain financial communication. You want to have open discussions about your financial situation and your goals. You want to also talk about financial setbacks. You want to set shared financial objectives as a couple. So just like what I did earlier today, and I set a financial goal, when I'm talking to a woman that does not want to meet that financial goal with me, that is what disqualifies her from the categories that I am choosing from. Being transparent requires no judgment, but being transparent about income, expenses, and savings aids in the ability to have financial trust with one another. So Ladies talking about what you got in the bank and what you got to pay for is just as equally important as your man doing the same. Discussing spending limits for dates and activities where we set that we're not going to spend more than X, Y, and Z dollars on whatever activity. And you can kind of expand the limit a little bit, but try to aim below that limit so that if you decide to do one more extra thing that you're still not going over budget, you can still go to Disney World without spending $2,500 at Disney World. You can go on a Caribbean cruise without spending $5,000 on a Caribbean cruise when the tickets only cost $200. You have to remember that if you set a budget and you both adhere to it, you're going to be conscious about your spending, what you're going to buy, when you're going to buy it, because you're only allowed to spend so much money. Now, you want to practice financial responsibility. So you're encourage thoughtful spending decisions to your partner, regardless of your gender. You want to explore cost-effective date options, and you want to look at things like early bird dinner specials. You have girls' night at the club. So if you take your girl out, if you're going to go to the club and you're going to go to one of those ladies get in free situation that reduces the cost of getting into the club. If the drinks are free or reduced price, you want to have her start up a tab, and then y'all sit far away from the bar and then split the drinks. And that will save you guys a little bit of money. Also, you guys can find other situations like supporting each other's ability to adapt in frugal habits, because it might be harder for some people to spend less money than others, especially if you're used to having everything given to you or used to having a large quantity of money at your disposal. It might be more beneficial for the person that's used to not spending a lot of money to be more patient with the person that is not used to not having access to or not being able to spend a lot of money. Broke people are used to being frugal because they don't have enough money to go around, and they have 5 things to pay for with the $1. So they're used to picking and choosing and not doing and doing without ultimately. But an individual that has an abundance may not have that capability. Instead of them having to pick and choose, they may do it all twice because they can afford to do so. Changing that mentality can be tough. Getting creative with meal planning, like shopping at farmers markets and catching things on clearance sales or finding deals. These are ways that you can save a little bit of extra money on the food that you're trying to buy. Buying cheaper ingredients. Instead of steak and lobster, you can do pork chops and ground beef. You can do chicken and fish. You have some people that don't even eat meat, where you can do an all vegetarian diet. Some people that are allergic to soy, so you might not be able to do a tofu diet, but you will be able to manage a decent meal. You can stretch the meat in a deal, stretch the meat in the meal, because like in the Asian culture, they do like a 3-centimeter slice of meat, and they like literally fine chop the meat instead of having big hunks of meat like we have in America, where each strip of meat goes a lot further in the meal. You want to build financial stability. So if you focus on reducing debt and building emergency savings, you have extra money lying around in case the situation hits the fan and you've got to go grab money. If you have emergency funds lying around, you have more financial capability to not have to take your the principal from your financial investments, which allows you to spend less of that principal on day-to-day operations, generating more dividends, where you start changing your life to living off of your dividends. Once you make enough money to live off of your dividends and you've got money left over, then you are able to say, all right, I can quit my job now and just live. I can travel now and just live. If you're trying to maintain your standard of living in 2 countries, you want to have a certain quantity of dividends to cover your standard of living in your primary country, your home country, and then give you enough money to travel everywhere else you're trying to go at the same time. This is going to be ways that you know where your stopping point is, because some people just want to have enough money to live. So whatever your standard of living is, if you reach that value, that's your standard of living, you're not gonna work after that. Some people want to do more than that. So if you have more that you want to achieve, you want to make more, save more, invest more, so that you have more to achieve more. Now consider side gigs or career development to increase income. And career development is like getting raises and promotions on your current job, or finding you alternative side hustles that are not going to devalue or degrade yourself, so that you will be able to make a larger income that exceeds your spending habits. But you want to reduce your spending habits to reasonable necessities with additional capital to put towards entertainment. You want to maintain a well-structured budget to ensure that your financial stability is maintained or feasible for the both of you. And you want to reevaluate that every month to make sure that everybody's needs are being met inside of the budget. You may have to raise and drop the budget based on needs, but you also have to recognize what is the difference between a need and a luxury. What is mandatory as a necessity or a want for entertainment? If you don't need that, how much are you going to use that? And if you cannot find value in that, you can do without that. That is something that you need to think about. If you can't survive without that, where life is over without that, then you're going to have to find a way to prioritize that. But you can only prioritize so many things if you're going to be on a budget. Now, balancing romance and reality, prioritizing emotional connections over expensive outings is clearly important. You want to be creative in showing affection without spending money. So something as simple as writing how you feel about the other person, or notes that on little sticky notes. And that's like what, $1 for a few hundred little sticky notes. And if you got a business, you can use those notepads as a tax write-off. Buy you a bunch of sticky notes. Then you can write little notes and messages on how much you love and miss each other and care about each other. And y'all can leave those notes all over the house in different areas where your partner might find that at a later date and time after you wrote that, and rekindle their feelings of appreciation and value. You want to focus on shared experiences rather than material gifts. So you're creating memories with each other, not just cluttering up the house with buying a bunch of stuff. You want to remember that strong relationships are built on the trust and communication, not simply the financial status. The financial status might bring you guys together in the first place, but the relationship will be built from the ground up on your ability to trust each other and communicate with each other. So we have a success story that I'm going to share with you guys that really drives the point home. There was a friend of mine that met her partner at a free yoga class in the park, and they hit it off immediately. And their first date was a hike in a nearby nature reserve. And not only was it free, but it was also a great way to get some exercise and enjoy the beautiful scenery. Fast forwarding a few months later, and they're still going strong. It just goes to show that you don't need to spend a fortune to find meaningful connections. Another one was Ruderus. He was able to bond with his partner over chess, which is a free game. And now he's teaching her how to play chess, and he's a chess master in his own right. And him and her play games together, play chess games together, and that doesn't cost you guys money for every game. All you got to do is just take the chessboard that you own and bring it with you to your girlfriend's house and play chess at her house, play chess at your house, play chess at the park. Bring chess pieces, because some parks have a chessboard on the table and you can just play chess on the table. It's ways that you guys can do stuff for free. Another powerful tip is to focus on things that really matter in the relationship. Instead of worrying about the price tag, focus on the quality of the time you're spending together, because the companionship in a relationship is about building memories. So the American dream was about having a good standard of living and having a career that or a way to pay for it all, if not a career, and then building memories with the people that you love. So retirement was quitting the daily grind and then living the rest of your life building memories with your family. It's not about spending money. So you got to think to yourself, are you laughing and having fun? Are you feeling seen and heard? because those are the things that truly matter, not the cost of the date. And if ladies, if y'all remember this, the Cheesecake Factory would be fantastic if you can't stop laughing on the date. In the end, love doesn't have to be expensive. With a little creativity and resourcefulness, you can find meaningful connections without breaking the bank. So I appreciate you guys that are still here watching with me. If you have any budget or dating tips for yourselves that you've been through, make sure that you put those into the comment sections. Make sure that you guys send us messages on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, because I'm checking all of the comment sections. Don't forget to check out that we have a bunch of other videos on this. And if you guys are looking for more tips and tricks on relationships advice, or if you're looking for the money-making advice that we have on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, make sure that you stay tuned, because we are live 7 nights a week. And as of tomorrow night, we will be starting hopefully exactly at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, which is 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock California time, which is Pacific time, and that should be 4 a.m. Green Minute time, 4 a.m. Universal Standard Time. We're going to be trying to start off at about the same time every day. I'm going to try to be prepared to start an hour early. That way I'm not showing up late. And we should be able to make it make sense on a daily basis. So with that being said, we got a few more shows coming up on Saturday and Sunday. But Sunday is our members only, that's open to the public, where we'll be doing reactions to questions and comments from the fans. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. But what's happening with the Trump administration, with Elon Musk and the Doge Corporation, that's going to be talked about on Mondays. Tuesdays, we're going to be talking about other financial opportunities that we can get involved in. This week, we're going to be talking about cryptocurrencies and ETFs. Wednesday, we talk about a different country's ability to finance and invest and live for the most part, cheaper than the way that you live in America. And for the rest of the week, we do social improvement and social interactions. And there's always, every episode of this show is about delivering knowledge for you guys to improve yourselves with first person accountability. So with that being said, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And fellas, we're about 75% in the making. Make sure that you guys, if you're not watching us on YouTube, that you go over and like us on YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube. That way you get a notification that we're going live, because regardless of where you come from, whether it's Twitch or Twitter, or for some reason TikTok, if you guys get the notification on your phone that we went live, you can join us live from Twitch or Twitter, and potentially be able to watch us from TikTok once Donald Trump finished buying TikTok. And we will be able to learn and grow together. Now on This and That, we talk about this, that, and everything in between. So there's no limit to the conversations that we can have. Matter of fact, yesterday we were talking about guns and weapons and stuff. There's no limit to the things that we talk about. But I try to start the show, at least the primary topic is about something that you can benefit from, that you could take away from today, and also some type of financial advice that could lead you into building a better 20-year plan, where you could try to retire within 10 to 20 years of the day that you jump on this podcast and start following us on a regular basis. So we've got about 75% of men following the channel right now, because the channel is made for men, but women can benefit from it. With that being said, I appreciate you guys. Usman, Nico, Talani, Mr. Pibbs, Max Poser, his father, Joe, Reese Martinez. We really appreciate you guys coming to the show. Thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Enjoy the outro. Before I go, I want to let you know that Higher Ground was made by alanito.music, which is a Switzerland band that has made us an entire album that you can find on YouTube, and the links are in the description section. In addition to that, if you want to buy it to download, there are links to Amazon. If you got Amazon Prime, where you can grab it to download to play when you don't have access to internet. So enjoy that outro as we wrap up tonight's show. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow night.
That's my personal command. I'm not mounted on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.